Welcome to the Green Hour on 900 AM WURD, Word on the Weekend.
Green Hour, we have a very important conversation with our guest, Russ Tanner, who is the founder of Global Skywatch. We will be discussing chemtrails, and Russ, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. Let's see, where do we start? You are the founder of an organization based in Maine that monitors something called chemtrails. I mean, if you could share with us briefly what is a chemtrail and then what your organization's mission is.
Sure. Chemtrail is those white lines you see in the sky. If you go outside and you see these jets emitting these white lines and they travel across the sky, that's a chemtrail. Our mission is to raise awareness about chemtrails and the damage that they are doing to everything, humans, animals, the environment. And once we raise this awareness, we want legislation to be passed to put an end to it.
Right.
Oh, this is profound. You're saying that there are unmarked planes dropping chemicals over major cities, and people are getting sick from it. What's actually in this chemtrail?
Well, from all of the water tests, the dust tests, the rainwater tests, here's the patterns we are seeing. We're seeing spikes in aluminum. We're seeing spikes in barium. We're seeing spikes in strontium. We're seeing spikes in mercury. And in some areas, we've seen spikes in other metals, such as lead, iron. Those are most of them. We've seen some other spikes here and there, but across the board, it seems like the largest, most universal spikes that we see are barium, aluminum, strontium, and mercury.
Okay. Dr. Paul here with us because as we comply with the word mandate, we are here to provide not just information, but also solutions. So we really appreciate you being here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Russ, so this is an unauthorized so not a public initiative. What happens when people complain or people like yourselves bring this to the attention of politicians or those powers that be?
Well, I've talked to a lot of people. I can tell you first what happened with me is during the big assault we had a couple of years ago when the whole ladybug colony collapsed in 3 days, I called. I had to have a wet washcloth over my mouth because it was just burning my sinuses so badly. And I'm more sensitive than most people, so most people don't experience this. But there's about 2 to 4% of the population that actually do experience this. I called the head of the Maine Department Bureau of Air Quality and had a 40-minute conversation with him, and I had a 40-minute conversation with another person who was one of his officers, who were very interested. The initial conversation was very pleasing and very professional and very positive, and they were very interested in what I was saying. And then as I waited for a follow-up, and then I finally contacted them and saying, where can we move forward? Can we do testing? What can we do? Suddenly the tone had suddenly changed, and they had no interest and, didn't return phone calls anymore after that. And I had lost contact with them. This is pretty much the same reaction we're getting from a lot of other people that I know who have talked to state officials, and they're just either saying, oh, those are just water vapor contrails, which I know isn't true because I can smell and taste them along with a lot of other people I've contact with, and they're getting the same type of reaction. Unfortunately, the officials just really don't know how to deal with this.
Russ, I just have a quick question for you. And this is definitely, as I was coming in, I heard you speaking that this is not just in the United States. This is Europe. This is Canada. This is all over the world, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. I've had contact with, and we have pictures from most of the Western European countries, Canada, South America, Ecuador, Holland, Denmark, UK, Scotland, Ireland. All these countries are getting hit. The UK, England, getting hit really, really hard. Many parts of the United States, Philadelphia, getting hit really, really hard. San Francisco, Arizona, Phoenix, Texas, all over. Yep.
Yeah, and so amazing that we're sitting in the studio right now, and right across the top of this studio is one of the largest ones I've seen in a long time, and it's kind of low.
That's right. It sure is.
What are some of the symptoms you would see in the community by these chemtrails being dropped on people?
Are you asking Dr. Paul?
Yes, Dr. Paul. I mean, what would happen?
Well, absolutely. It's the body, the chronic conditions. One thing that I sort of want to even throw this out there to Russ a little bit. I've noticed the bronchial situations. Me in the naturopath field, I see a lot of bronchial problems more than anything. People having issues with lung conditions. People having breathing problems. More PAP machines than ever right now because people can't sleep. These a lot of things are going on in the bloodstream because when that chem gets in your system, it goes right into the blood, and it also starts affecting the liver because that's the purifier. That's your nuclear reactor of the body, and it's purifying before I give it to the body. I'm going to purify this. So people have liver problems. You're going to have issues with hypothyroidism, which means that the body's voltage regulation is going up and down. Hot sweats. People just can't cool down. A lot of women are experiencing that right now. It's issues, but there is hope, though. And the hope is that when you start to balance the body out, this affects already systems that are already inflamed. So if you are not inflamed, which means your pH is high, you're eating right, you're detoxing, you're juicing, you're doing the proper things naturally, you can counteract a lot of the toxins that are in the system, but still there's a major awareness to that.
Right. Let me ask, are there any other organizations, Russ, that verify that these chemtrails are in fact what we're talking about?
Well, there's a lot of activity about this in many of the states. Long Island, there's a group called Long Island Skywatch that's making a lot of progress in Long Island, New York, where they had a public hearing a few months ago. They had 100 people show up and give nice heated speeches to the local panel of the officials there. And they're trying to pass a resolution there to get it illegal over their airspace. And they've got the ear of some of the officials out in California, in the Mount Shasta area, that's been hit really, really hard. They've got, from what I understand, I haven't spoken personally to them, but I've heard from them indirectly that they have a lawsuit where they're trying to get the state to outlaw the spraying. Hawaii, same type of thing. They've got a lot of political activity going on in Hawaii because Hawaii is, very agricultural. A lot of people don't think of it that way, but there's a lot of important agriculture that they grow even for themselves. But they are trying to get the spraying outlawed over there too. So there's a lot of activity, and this is if you look online, you'll probably find well over 100 websites, fully functional websites with forums and online information covering this subject.
100.
Russ, I have a question for you. If in fact the government is allowing this to take place, is there some military relationship between dropping these chemtrails and technology used to control weather? Is there some correlation?
There's a lot of evidence that says that there is. There's a device called HAARP, which is a high frequency auroral research project, active auroral research project. Now, not everybody's heard of this, but this is a device that transmits high-frequency electromagnetic signals into the ionosphere and can bounce those signals around the Earth. And the stated claim of use for it is for experimentation of the atmosphere. The funny thing is that a few years ago they used to say things on their website, and the patents for this device, which is a large device that's located in Alaska, and there's a good dozen and a half other devices similar to it around the world in other countries that can induce earthquakes. This is not me saying this. This came off their website. It's not on their website anymore, but it was. And also have profound weather effects like steering the jet stream in the United States.
Wow.
So what happens with HAARP is you want to ionize the atmosphere, which means you want to put a particle in there that makes the electromagnetic waves travel more efficiently. So there's been a lot of speculation that the Chemtrail project may have more than one purpose. I think that it does personally. and that part of it may be related to making the atmosphere work as waveguides, as they're called. They're virtual waveguides, and carrying the electromagnetic energy from these research facilities that transmit millions of watts of magnetic energy along these sprayed chemtrail lines in the atmosphere. So it's one of the theories out there.
Okay.